Hello, thank you very much for returning to our channel. You're always welcome. Now, let's talk about something that's very important. I put together 3 videos into one so you can learn the proper techniques of how to use salt. Because if you want fine quality tanning results, you have to take care of everything in the field properly. And this is where these videos come in. If you learn the techniques, tricks of the trade, etc. that I teach in this relatively short video, you should not have a problem. Now we're going to talk about salting, the proper way to do it, how to do it, tips and tricks on capes, and how to store the skins, how to hang them up when you are in camp, and how to transport them. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you would, if you like it, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Keep watching, there's something special in here. You'll need it a little bit later. Thank you for watching. Let's talk a little bit about salting your skins. Biggest question we have is what type of salt to use. It's called hay and stock salt. This is 99% pure. In other words, this is going to be a white salt. Commonly referred to as distilled salt, but it's non-iodized. For taxidermy and skin preservation purposes, always try to use hay and stock salt. It's American Stockman. They have Morton, several other manufacturers throughout the United States. Not a lot of them, but there's several of them. Show you what this salt looks like. First of all, I like to go ahead and put the salt in 5-gallon buckets. It's easier to tote around, protects it from the elements, etc. Get a close-up of this here. This is all 99% pure salt. It's white salt. It's not rock salt. Rock salt is too coarse. It's the wrong type of salt. Any salt that you use, again, non-iodized, must be able to penetrate into the skin. Before you salt any skin, hide, or cape, all of the flesh and meat and fat must be taken off of the skin. The salt will penetrate a little bit, but it won't penetrate fat. But it'll penetrate just a little bit of meat. Doesn't have to be perfectly fleshed, but it's always good to get as much off as you can. Again, now this is the type of salt too, the 99% pure approximately, type of salt that we would use in the taxidermy tanning side of the business, where we would go ahead and make up acid pickles, tanning solutions, etc., etc. This is the type of salt that's preferable. Now, you're up in the woods, wherever it is you're at, you skin out your animal, you flesh it down, you clean it up. What that means again is you take off most of the fat, well, you take off all the fat, most of the big chunks of meat and things like that. Turn the ears inside out. That's for a different video. I show you how to do that. Turn the nose. Split the lips, roll them out. You can see there's a little bit of meat here. That's okay. Now, you're out in the woods. You just took this off a deer. You'll be a little bit bloody. What you'd have to do is put it on a sloped surface so all the fluids that drain, that the salt collects and pulls out of the skin, so it drains off of the hide. You don't want it to pull and collect, because there you have hair slippage. So what I'm going to do here is pour salt on. Usually 1 pound of salt per pound of clean fleshed skin. That's usually the ratio. But you can never over salt. Salt as much as you can. Put this salt in. It's more economical. If you go through salt like we do, you always buy quality supplies, but you also too, you buy the economical ones that work. As far as chemicals go, you buy the best there is. Now, usually wait 24 hours or even sooner. If the salt pulls out the moisture, that's one part of the tanning process, preservation process. What it does, it pulls the moisture out of the skin and locks the skin around the hair follicles. That's very important. So you want to make sure there's plenty of salt all over. Again, non-iodized salt. £50 bag, $2.99. Does the same thing that a $6 bag of salt will. Which one are you going to use? Which one makes sense? For purposes of just giving you an idea, big difference in color, isn't it? The white and gray. And since this is refined, it's a little bit finer grind. Never use rock salt. Whenever you store these skins, you're out in the field, can't come in for a couple days, never put them in the sun. Never just hang them up without treating them, because then they'll air dry and rehydration is going to be difficult. It can still be done. But to properly take care of your trophy, whatever it may mean to you or anyone else or to your client, if you guide, it's important that you do the job correctly. You have to flesh it down. You can't let it lay around. You have to do this immediately. Once it's salted, you can go ahead and hang it up, put it in a burlap bag. You can hang it up in the shade so the air will circulate it around it. It's very important, especially if you're hunting in early season, you bow hunters, right where it gets real hot. It's hot all the time almost. You have to do this right away. You can't leave things sit around. Even if you're up in Canada, Alaska, what have you, once the animal's down, take care of your trophy right away. Obey the laws, tag it, eviscerate it, field dress it, and then get busy skinning. Skinning will be a different tape. But anyway, this is what you do as far as salt goes. Where do you buy this salt? You buy this salt Farmers and Ranchers Supply, feed stores. You may even have a salt mill that real close to you. Right now we're looking at 29 inches for a mule deer cape that came in. Hi, I'm Kip Michael, and what I want to do here today is just give you a quick tip on salting capes of any kind. This here's a mule deer. You have to make sure, which you experienced people already know this, but new hunter, you have to flesh it down well. Turn the ears inside out. Here, make sure the nose and everything's been turned, the lips have been split and rolled out. Shave down a little bit. Of course, all the final shaving, fine tuning is going to be done on a machine or done by hand later after it's already tanned. You have to make sure all that's done. I want to show you something here. Now, most of the time, when you salt everything, you should always put it on a slanted surface. This here is a wooden pallet. I've got holes drilled in it. It's all wet salt. Now, a lot of times when these things are salted, when you first salt them, you got all this flip turned around. It's salted on the flesh side, obviously. All right, that starts to dry a little bit. It's pulling the moisture out of the skin. That's what the salt does, and locks the hair follicles down there. Now, what happens when the temperature drops to 32 degrees or lower, salt doesn't do its job anymore, because the moisture that's pulled out by the salt, everything's wet, it freezes solid. And that's about as far as she rides until it warms up a little bit. But Now you can see this is doing its job, it's pulling the moisture out. But the opposite side of this cape, I want to show you, is wet too, right where the hair is. So you want to flip it over if it's laying down like this, and go ahead and let this dry somewhat too. Because again, you want to get this dry as soon as possible. Now ideally, you could hang it over a line, hang it over a post that's been put up specifically to help dry skins and capes. Now, depending upon the situation, now this here, obviously, see, it has to be tanned. I may come back in here and use a curry comb and comb this down, but that's not really necessary. It's just some little tips to help you out there. So take care of your capes. And give you an idea, I like to use Buckeye mannequins. Not really promoting any particular person, but the Buckeye mannequins for me work best for me for large Colorado mule deer. And this is a very large Colorado mule deer. Really good for Colorado. Wide nose, Roman features. Look at that broadness in that nose. Good quality, good hunting. I hope this tip helps. Take care of those skins and capes. You'll make your taxidermist happy, and if you're the taxidermist, you'll be more happy. Hello. What we're going to talk about here briefly is just simply this here. How do you quickly transport your trophy back home? How do you do it? Do you just throw it into a cooler, throw it in the back of the truck? No, you don't do any of that there. Once you have your trophy skinned out, I use the word trophy too because this is the definition that most people understand. But you take your specimen, I like to use the word specimen. Anyway, you got everything all skinned out. You have it, the ears turned, nose turned, lips split, rolled out, everything salted for at least 4 hours to maybe overnight or even longer. You have to put it on a sloped surface. Now out in the woods, you're not going to have a pallet to put it on, so you can use a sloped ground or just make a makeshift sloped area away from any heat or sunlight, preferably in the shade, so everything's real nice and cool. You salt it, you wait, like I said, anywhere from 5 hours to 24 hours. Here you go. This here was done about 12 hours ago. You can see how nice this is. No moisture coming off, no fluids. Everything's ready to go. Now, you can't just throw it into some area where it will lay in fluids, any bodily fluids, any blood, any water, or anything like that there. So coolers, you got to be careful with them. Also too, the air must circulate around this cape. In this case here, it's a cape, it's a head skin, it's not a life-size skin obviously, but this here is true for everything from deer, elk, caribou, moose, bear, what have you, no matter where you're at. You have to go ahead and skin it out, prepare it properly, salt it down, let it drain, get all the fluids off of it. This here is still kind of limber, which is good. Now, keep it away from any direct sunlight or heat. Fold it flesh to flesh, just like this. Then just go ahead and roll it. Have yourself 2 pieces of cord. I like to use 550 cord, otherwise known as parachute cord, but you can use any type of cord. You can use shoelaces, you can use your belt, what have you. Never use wire because wire will stain everything. So what you have to do is go ahead and tie this off. Keep this tied off right here. Usually you can use 2. I like to use 2 on just about everything. You want to make sure that you don't cinch up the hair too much because you could cause a bald spot. So you tie this off, use 2 cords right here. Go ahead and pull that up, put it in a bowl, or you could go ahead and do a knot if you want. Now, the real secret to a lot of this is a porous bag. A burlap bag is what you want to use. Burlap bag. Another mesh type bags that chilies would come in, onions or even potatoes. You've seen them in the grocery stores when you buy in bulk. These bags are excellent. Go ahead, take what you just rolled up. It's already been salted, properly prepared, cooled off. Put this in here. Throw it maybe on the back of your horse, tie it down. Or if you're going to be out in the field a little bit longer, several more days, tie it off here, hang it up into a tree like this so the air can circulate on it. You want to make sure that the sun doesn't beat down on it or anything like that. It's away from any heat or sunlight. Again, in the shade, you can hang it up. This here would be good 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, provided everything was prepared properly, like we just talked about. Properly skinned, fleshed down, salted, and drained. This is what you'd want to hand to your taxidermist. Now, a lot of people talk about taking measurements. Sure, you can do that if you want, but taxidermists, any competent taxidermist knows how to measure skin. It's already been skinned out. So this here is going to be great. This is how you transport it. When you transport it back into your taxidermist, you take it home. Don't let it sit in the sun on the way home. Don't just throw it in the back of your truck. The sun's beating on it for however many miles you got to make it back in there. If you're like me, it's probably several hundred miles travel, so you want to make sure it's covered up. You're in a little bit nicer SUV, etc. It's fine. There's nothing leaking out of it. You can put down a little plastic bag, put it on top of the bag, carry it inside with you. Do not put this just into a plastic bag, wrap it up tight, and then go ahead and transport it, because you will cause spoilage because it'll heat up in there. The whole idea is to take away the moisture, therefore bacteria cannot grow. So there you have it. That's how you transport it. And this is good enough again to tie up to a tree, leave it up there for several days, tie it onto your backpack, throw it in the car, throw it in the trunk of your car. Again, porous, so it can breathe. Very important. Hope this helps you out.